Hi everybody and welcome to week 6 of English 123. This week we're going to talk about writing your big research paper. So last week you submitted your annotated bibliography, which consisted of 10 sources and a write-up on each of the sources, all related to the topic of which you're going to write your big research paper. If you find, after you've done your annotated bibliography, that there seems to be some sources that you found that will not prove to be helpful for you in writing your research paper, you're going to want to go back to the drawing board and continue to do a little bit more research to supplement with some new sources. As you get started with writing your discipline-specific research paper, you have a journal entry that you're going to do. And it's not... it's totally up to you how you want to do your journal entries. If you want to just do notes, you want to do free writing, if you want to do clusters, however you want to do it is fine. But you need to do an entry for each of these following bullets. You need to brainstorm your topics. You need to make a list of your ideas as they develop for your one specific topic. You need to write a thesis statement that does get approved by me, so please be looking for my comments and feedback. Approving that this thesis statement shows that you're on the right track. The structuring your essay is going to be more of your outline of your paper, and make sure you do follow with the rubric to cover all the components of the rubric. And then your peer review feedback, which is going to include the peer review documents and the essay, your essay itself as it was graded by your partner. This is the prompt for your research paper. This research paper is your final exam for the class. You're going to write a 10 to 12 page argumentative essay, and I have been trying to be pointing this out to you over and over again. Please make sure this is an argumentative angle. This is not just a research paper with a report of information. You do need to have a perspective, a side that has your clear opinion that's argued. Okay, so this is tied to the article reviews that you've done with your annotation. You have a topic of interest that's related to your field of study, it's related to your major or your career choice. You've come up with a research question, and then you've turned it into a statement, which is then your thesis statement. You're going to identify your position in this field, and you're going to go over what it is about this, whether you're going to talk about the causes and effects, the problems and solutions, you're going to evaluate this position for effectiveness, the pros and cons. Maybe you're going to talk about a problem and solve the problem, however you choose to go about it. But the research is key. This is a research-based paper. Okay, the format's similar to the rest of the class, MLA or APA format. 10 to 12 pages does not include your title page or works cited page. You do need to have a works cited page. Remember to list those sources in alphabetical order. Sometimes we forget about that, but we do want to make sure we do that. And if you want to do alternate sourcing, you're welcome to do that, but that's in addition to these 10 sources. Alternate sourcing would include interviews, other pamphlets, brochures, websites that you've looked at. Although we're doing peer review for this worksheet, I would encourage you to consider using Smart Thinking feedback in addition to the peer review. It's always a good idea to get another perspective before submitting your final draft, and this is your final exam again, so it's good to get some extra eyes going on this paper. Okay, so let's talk about some questions and answers regarding this research project and this paper. Discipline specific means related to your area of study at CBU. It should relate to your major or your career in some aspect. This is an argumentative paper. What kind of argument depends on what you want to do. Okay, you do have a lot of freedom of choice here. You can take a position. You can talk about what's causing something to happen. You can do another problem and solution paper. You can talk about the effects of something. You can evaluate something. A literary analysis may or may not be, unless you're an English major, this probably isn't going to apply to too many of you, but you are going to be evaluated based on how well you've engaged with your research, how you've argued your case, You've supported it with your research. Have you addressed your counter arguments of those people that are going to disagree with you? And then the overall writing. How well is it organized? Did you use transition statements? And was it clearly in order? Here's a question. Can I build on the work I've done from essays 1 or 2? Yes, but I don't encourage it. Okay, it's really difficult to be able to do that well without just repeating the same thing you've already written about. So I don't always encourage that. You might want to double check with me before you choose to do so. If you are undeclared about a major, then that's a conversation we can have and figure out what to do to help you. Peer review draft workshop. You'll find in week 7 there's a spot that looks like this, and you're going to have a peer review workshop form. You're going to click on that and print it out, and there is going to be a spot where you're going to, there's a blog where you're going to try to link up with a partner. So please try to do that early so that you can find somebody and exchange emails and be working together to read each other's papers. This is an assignment that's going to be your final draft, or your rough draft is going to need to go to your partner by day 4 of week 7. Revisions you need to email your partner the paper by day 1 of week 7. So you have this is week 6 we're going into. So by Monday of next week, that's going to be Monday, October 13th. You want to send them your paper, get it back by the day 4, that Thursday of that week, and then make all your revisions, and your final draft needs to be submitted by Sunday of week 7. Very important that we follow those deadlines. Here again is another timeline. Week 6, that's this week. You do not have anything due. No assignments are due. You are simply using your research to write a rough draft. Week 7, next week. Get that rough draft over to your partner. Perhaps also get it to Smart Thinking Feedback. By Thursday, you're going to return and get your papers exchanged from one another. Make sure that your journal entries are up to date. Make some revisions by Friday and Saturday. And then by Sunday, all the journals, the peer editing, and the final draft is submitted. And then the only thing you'll have to left to do is work on your community discourse project during week 8. When you organize your paper to submit your draft, you want to have a heading. Abstract is optional. Then you'll have your paper. If you want to separate it, because it is such a large paper, 10 to 12 pages, if you want to separate it into subheadings, that's optional. But organize it, as you see fit, and then make sure you have your works cited page. Here is your rubric for this paper. Okay, this is a 200-point paper. Again, it is your final exam. So we'll be looking for high levels here. 15% goes to the engagement and discipline, how deeply you've engaged in your chosen discipline. You've made an insightful and original argument. And insightful and original just means, talk about something that's profound and that you've done some thought about. You don't want to make a thesis statement that talks about obesity is bad. Okay, of course it's bad. That's not insightful and that's not original. The argument, 30% of your essay goes to how well you make this sophisticated argument in your thesis and then throughout your essay as a whole. Another 30% is how well your research works to support your argument. 5% will go to the counter argument of how well you've addressed those who are going to disagree with you. And the final 20% goes to how well you've organized your paper. Have you written it clearly and engaging, and is it free of errors? Okay, so looking ahead to the Community Discourse Project. This is the last assignment you're going to turn in during week 8. And I'm going to go ahead and just briefly run through what it is now, and then we will talk more about that later. We can work on it during office hours. There's a lot of examples that I've posted for you. This is going to be a media-based project. So you're either going to you're going to make a website, a free Weebly website, or you're going to make a PowerPoint, something that is multimedia, okay? This is due by day 5 of week 8. Notice there's nothing that's going to be accepted on Saturday and Sunday of week 8. Our class is going to end on Friday of week 8. That's when all work needs to be submitted, because I have to do grades that weekend and turn them in before that next Monday. So as a part of being a college student, you're going to be joining a discourse community. A discourse community is a group of people who share common goals. Perhaps as a science major, you're in the science discourse community. Perhaps as a nursing major, you're in that discourse community. There could be union members that make up a discourse community, a church group, a board that makes up a discourse community. It's any group of people that show common interests, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to pick a discourse community related to your major and just do a little brief review of it. It's not that bad. There's 3 parts to what you're going to submit. You have field work, where you're going to interview a person in this community. You have a writing analysis, where you're going to find a piece of writing pertinent to this discourse community. Maybe it's a journal or a publication, and you're just going to share it and review it. And then the third thing you're going to do is write a reflection of what did you learn about this discourse community, and how can it help you in your studies as a college student. So you have examples, you have a lot of links to click on in my PowerPoint and in our learning activities. This is an example of Weebly.com. It's a free website where you can make your own web page. So notice this one was done by Dr. Bartels. This is an example of a science community. So this is the first page. It's the home page that just introduces. And then the next one is the fieldwork page. And this talks about this person who is a chemistry student, and it does an evaluation of this person and an interview. And then the next page is the writing analysis, and if you clicked here, we would be able to see the article on thermochromism, and this is a review and summary of findings. And then the last one is your reflection part, and this is where Dr. Bartels uploaded a little mini YouTube video where she pretended to make a reflection of what it's like to be part of the science community. I did include for you more examples in my PowerPoint of someone that did the small business model of Starbucks. So you can see here another Weebly web page. The home page introduces it. Then there's the highlights of what it's like to be a small business owner, the analysis of Howard Schultz's model of Starbucks, the field work. This is where the person interviewed a barista, and we have a little video of what it was like and there's another message, an audio message from Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks. And then the last one is a written reflection. So there's different ways you can do this, and you can also put this into a PowerPoint, but you should have some sort of audio and visual to go with it. This is the webpage, Weebly.com, if you want to learn how to make a free website. There's also this website, Screencast-O-Matic. That's what I'm currently using right now, and so you can it records what's on your screen. So for this presentation I've made my own PowerPoint, and all I'm doing is using audio to record what's on my screen, and I'm taking you through my PowerPoint. And that's what it looks like. You have this bar here, and it will record whatever's within this box at the Screencast-O-Matic website. Okay, and then week 8 is your discourse project. There will be no lesson week 8. You just turn things in by that Friday and comment on each other's assignments. That's your final 100-point assignment with a couple of other little small things and the course evaluation. And I humbly ask you to please do that course evaluation. It's so important for me to grow as an instructor and to help to learn how to serve you better. Here's the rubric for the community discourse presentation. 5% for how well you understand what a discourse community is, 25% for each of the categories that I discussed, and then 20% for overall multimedia presentation, how well it looks. As always, tips for success: plan your time, proofread everything, ask questions, and I know you'll have a great week. I look forward to hearing from you, and God bless.